This is the Fine Homebuilding 2022 house. This is going to be the Taylor residence, and today we are forming for our foundation walls. We were really fortunate we were able to get our footings in before the freeze, and now the guys have been hustling like mad all day to get these magnesium forms set up. You can see them stringing lines and bracing everything off right now, because I think we're going to try and pour later today. So the steel is tied, the forms are set, and we're ready to go. We're just kind of going over the parts and pieces that make up this wall form. It's a magnesium panel. It's a nice lightweight panel. Lightweight for a 3x8 or 3x9 panel. Still pretty heavy. But they're all joined together with these bolts and wedges to draw them tight so that when we pour the concrete, it doesn't spill out of this seam. What we really want to do is keep everything together and in line. So before the guys started, they snapped a line along the footing to make a straight line for us to establish our wall, and they set the outside wall panels against that line. Then they tied all the steel on all the number 4 bars sticking up from the footing. They tied all the steel horizontally across, and then they set the inside panels, and now they're walking around the top of wall with a pink string line checking for straight in the panel, because we know that we're on line and we know that we're plumb. They've already done that, but there's a little waviness at every transition in the panels. So that's why you see these wood braces around. You start by putting the walers on, and that will draw it in to close, but you're still going to need some bracing because the massive amount of weight of concrete pushing on these walls, it'll push it out. So the only other thing that I wanted to talk about before I hand it off to Joe is these wall panels are typically made in a 4-foot section. This is only a 3-foot wall back here though. So we've made a manual block down a foot lower so that our actual top of wall will be a foot below this top of panel, and that's why you don't see a magnesium closure strip on the end there.
This has been a pretty long process for us to get to this point. We managed to get excavated, and you can see we're on a kind of a smaller lot, so instead of 3 days, our digging took like 6. We had a weather coming in, so we ended up putting 2 inches of straw over the whole dig and then covering that in plastic. What we were trying to do is protect this ground from freezing. So this is the straw we used. It comes in an 8-foot tall roll by 120 feet long, and it's actually about 3/4 of an inch thick, but it has this little netting in it that the straw is woven into, so you can just roll it on out. And we used 2 layers of it and then covered it in plastic, and that gave us about 2 inches of straw. But then the best part is when this is laid on top of each other, it's 2 inches, but we have air in between, and that's what helped insulate this ground from freezing. And then the plastic would, with the sun beating down on it, would warm up during the day, trap a little bit of heat in there. And when we pulled it, I mean, our concrete guy was happy. You know, he hasn't seen it done this way. I don't know if I think it was actually more cost effective to do it this way than to buy bales and then manually break them up and spread them all over. It was some work for Travis and I. It was a little bit of money, but it was worth it to keep our schedule, to not have to go back through survey and just through the city, because we were paid to build a plan, we were approved to build a plan, and so sometimes you have to do the little things to make sure everything works.